and welcome back to Pi TV. I'm your host Max,
and I'm your co-host Maeve.
As you know, every week we bring you in-depth coverage of subjects brought to us by our viewers. This week, our topic is brought to us by viewer Mari.
Mari asked about schools during the pandemic. Her question: do they still even work?
Great question, Mari. We found an independent school in Richmond, Vermont that we're certain still works.
We sent our team of reporters down to Mansfield Cooperative School to see how they're thriving in the current climate.
Hi, I'm here at the heart of Richmond, Vermont, at the home of Mansfield Cooperative School, fondly known as the Coop. Spending a week here at this independent middle school has really opened my eyes to see what education should be. Here are some of the highlights of my stay here.
This is a math lesson taught by teacher Julia. You may think that this is a special occasion, but this is the typical size of a group here at the Coop.
I love that I get to teach math, and I get to teach way beyond math. I get to think about when I'm planning my lessons, not just the nitty-gritty math side of it, but also how will it help them as people as they enter in the world? How can I help their social emotional learning? How can I help their growth mindset? And not only do I teach math, but I also get to run an advisory group, and I get to run a Dungeons and Dragons campaign as the dungeon master. I get to do paper mache with our students. I get to do so many incredible things to help them learn and to help me learn.
Language arts teacher Elizabeth is conferencing with a student one-on-one to help them with their writing.
One of the things that I really like about teaching here at the Coop in particular is how much we focus on each individual learner being their own self, learning their own things with their own sets of strengths and their sets of challenges, and the way that we can sort of celebrate and uplift those strengths and also work with them to set goals around their challenges or to focus in on certain parts. Because each kid is an individual, they'll be in lots of different groups depending upon exactly what they need at the moment. So you don't have that problem where you already learned something and you're going over it again and again because someone else doesn't know it. And you also don't have the problem where you're completely lost and you don't understand what's going on, because if you don't understand, we just stop and explain it to you.
Director and head teacher Jessie is teaching a Spanish lesson. If you look closely, you'll see her handing out independent work for the students to complete. Students will complete these assignments on their own time during an independent work block, and they will record them on their to-do list to help them keep track.
One of the things I love about the Coop is that the culture here is one that really values the excitement of learning. The kids get to see this example of adults who love to learn. It creates an atmosphere where kids get caught up in that excitement and joy of learning, that it's exciting to improve, it's exciting to gain new skills, it's exciting to learn new things. You know, last year when COVID happened and everything shut down, it was definitely a learning curve for everyone, but I feel that the Coop was really well equipped to handle it. Being such a small school, we were able to adapt really quickly and pivot without really losing much of that momentum in our learning. One of the things we did to adapt with the pandemic was creating these individual office spaces or cubicles. We call them their cubbies. And we built those over the summer, and it was great. You know, we had parents volunteering to come and help build them. The whole community kind of rallied around figuring out how can we safely be in person 5 days a week? What will that look like?
Well, Maeve, it seems like a small school environment is just what we needed to weather the storm of COVID successfully.
That's right, and not only that, but even before the pandemic, the Coop was a master at giving students what they need. To more on that, we see Oaks with the breakdown of the daily schedule.
Thank you, Maeve. As we all know, the Coop is unique in many of the ways that it caters to students' needs. As you can see here, we have written out the weekly schedule. Now you may be wondering, what is an independent work block? Well, we all know that middle schoolers need a little bit more independence and responsibility when it comes to time management. And this block does just that. Students get to decide where, when, and how they get their work done. They can move their body, take a break, or even get a snack. And that's the great thing about the Coop. Every kid gets to be an individual. Knowing middle schoolers' growing bodies need a little bit more movement, The Coop does not cut down on recess time, but instead allots 45 minutes to playing and movement. We go now to Matea to see what recess is like at the Coop.
Thanks, Oaks. I'm here at a wintry Coop recess, and I've got to say, it's been really fun. The Coop kids, or Coopians as they call themselves, have a lot of different game options. For example, building forts in the snow, and playing competitive ball games, and playing imaginary games in the woods. Every Coop recess, they start off with a community ball game. Here we have some Coopians building some snow forts.
One of the things I love about working at the Coop is that it's always changing and evolving. It's never stagnant. Each year, as some students graduate and new students join us, the Coop has a slightly different feel to it because here students are empowered to really take ownership of the school. So if they have an idea, if they have a passion, if something isn't working well for them, we encourage them to speak up, to advocate for that, and to create plans to change it and then put those plans into action. I love when students come to me really excited, like, Jessie, I have an idea. That is my favorite line that I hear. And, I then get to help them flesh out their idea, ask them questions, and help point them in the right direction so that they can make that exciting idea happen. We're serving as guides that help empower students to gain the skills that they'll need to be successful when they leave here. They're learning time management. They're learning how to advocate for themselves. They're learning who they are and developing that sense of self. They're developing confidence. They're getting to know their learning style, what works best for them. It matters what they think. It matters what works for them. It matters what they care about. And the school should be a reflection of that.
Seems like a strong community at the Coop. More like a family than a school, really.
That's the sense that I get. Everyone seems to be able to be themselves while growing at the same time.
That's right, and for a final look at the Coop, here are some clips of students saying what they love about their school.
I like the Coop because I get to design my own workspace so I can work better.
I like the Coop because there's no pressure to be something that I'm not.
The teachers know me really well and how I learn, and I like that about the Coop.
I like the Coop because I can feel free to work at my own pace.
I really like the Coop because we can joke around with each other and the whole atmosphere is structured much more like a family than a classroom.
One of my favorite things about the Coop is there's no typical middle school drama, so we can all be ourselves and just enjoy being around each other.
The best part about the Coop is that it can adapt to my needs.
If I can't focus, I can take a break and go for a walk, and when I get back, I can focus better.
I really like how you can take creative breaks and use a lot of the fun materials that they have here.
I like the Coop because I can work at my own pace without being rushed.
Well, that certainly seems like an incredible school. And Mari, to answer your question, schools do work during the pandemic.
Join us next week for an investigation on viewer Ben's question, what's the deal with ping pong?